Okay. I remember when we go camping in Grand Isle, Mom did not like me having soft drinks.
She didn't like sand either.
No, but soft drinks were a once in a blue moon treat. And Hill would pay me in soft drinks to work for her at the marina. And Mom would fuss at Hill every time. Okay, no problem. I won't have any more sodas. So Mom would leave.
That was Hilda.
And she'd sneak us to sneak me a drink. She paid me basically. One time I got paid different. I wanted a particular pair of sunglasses that had been hanging. They had those cardboard
cards.
Yeah, of sunglasses. They were high, and I wanted a particular one. And if I did a certain amount of work, she would give it. She gave it to me.
She was so good. She was such a great cook.
She was.
Daddy had, what were there, 9 of them?
Well,
Isolin, Dotselin, Cleor, Cleman, Hilya, Hilda, Junia, Lotegerison, 9.
9, yeah.
So that was Yor, Dad, Kay, Cleman, Tonjul, Hill.
Do you remember when Dad had back surgery in New Orleans? At Mercy Hospital.
I do.
And Mom and Dad left us with Tante Dot and Uncle Louis.
I do, out in West We Go.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember, I was so scared because I was in the place I was little.
They were so sweet to us.
They were. It's like, I guess just wasn't familiar with expecting that kind of treatment from them. Whatever we wanted to eat, whatever cereal. She'd sent Uncle Louis to the supermarket, whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
Get them ice cream, cereal, candy.
Yeah, he was sweet like that too.
Man,
so
this was the life, Mama would have killed her. She didn't know what she was feeding us.
Daddy himself telling me, don't mess with Dot. That her other siblings, I don't know if afraid of her is the right term, but they were like, don't get her, don't get Dot mad.
Yeah.
So out of all of them, Aunt Jewel never had a temper that I could tell.
No, but I do.
And
I always got a Coca-Cola at her house. And Mama hates
she always had French bread.
Drinks. Yeah, it's like,
she always had French bread.
Don't drink it.
I guess she was the one that had the, I don't know how to explain it, just that toughness, that.
Ooh, no telling what through
the
life.
Vendetta, who knows? She was tough.
No.
I know that there were stories about her and Tante Yor. Dad didn't have a car, I think maybe, and Yor would pick her up. But then they got into some argument and stopped talking to each other. But Yor would still go stop and pick her up. They'd ride in silence and take her where she needed to go. Like siblings, I guess,
so.
No, Daddy and Garrison and Nolte always seemed to be, and Hill seemed to be very close. Yeah. I remember Hill was very close to Tante Jewel.
Yeah.
And so was Daddy.
Yeah, I remember going to visit.
We'd go walk through the Nutri shop.
Miguel was mostly in his
shop.
Yeah, so it was usually just her.
He processed the nutria, the skin and the meat and all that. They had the Tabby Cat food place further down, and they would buy the meat and all that. But we'd walk through there because Daddy would go say hello and all that. And I thought that was the nastiest, stinkingest place. But it was their living, it was what it was.
A cook at her house and at Tante Yor's house.
They always had coffee.
The adults have coffee. And I love, you want to cook?
Always had, that afternoon coffee.
No Coke.
It was standard down the bay to have the afternoon coffee, just about everywhere you went. Somebody showed up, you put on a pot of coffee.
We were going to bring Tante Dot to the doctor in New Orleans. Dad was home. And it was to check that voice box, put in like she had
throat cancer from the smoking,
So they had her sleep in the room with me, my bed. Back then I didn't toss and turn, evidently. Most of the time I could wake up and the other half of the bed wasn't touched, So I had on my side of the bed. She slept on that side. She said she had a rough night sleeping because, and I said, what's the matter? She says she never moved. I was so scared something happened to her. She said
to make sure you're still alive?
Yeah. She touched to make sure she was still breathing.
That's funny.
It scared her, poor thing. I was like, I'm sorry.
That's funny.
I just was not. Nowadays, that's, a completely different story. Toss and turn all night long. But I remember taking her to the hospital. I don't remember, it was a big doctor's office, and waiting and listening to them talking, and then they called her back, and We came on home. But a couple times they took her.
She had a diabetic situation happen down the bayou here, like went into a coma, died.
Really?
And they'd taken her to later this scene. She was in ICU. And so I went there, and there were several of the older cousins that would have been closer to her.
Mm-hmm.
And when Leanne had gone in, she came back out, and she was crying. And I remember Leanne saying, "Elle est défigurée." She was disfigured by the trauma of what she'd been through. So we're still sitting there waiting, and Leanne had gone. She came back again, and she said, she wants to see you. No, she didn't point. She said she wants to see you. And I looked at her. I'm like, me? Mm-hmm. I told her who all was here, and she wants to see you. She asked for you by name.
Wow.
I went in, and when she saw me, she started crying. She was sitting up in the bed, and she was disfigured somewhat.
Yeah.
And she said, let me see how she said that. Quand je vois toi, je vois ton papa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When I look at you,
I see
quand je te regarde, when I look at you, I see your daddy. And it made her cry.
That's what she wanted to see Daddy
Yeah.
for the last time.
Yeah.
We were in Opelousas. We've been living in Alexandria. We were in Opelousas. His job, I was selling Kirby. I don't know what he was doing, but we were there, and we were there for like 2-3 hours. And I kept trying to. I gotta go call Leanne. She was living with Leanne at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta call Leanne. I gotta call Dot. I gotta talk to her. Couldn't remember her husband's name. Knew it was Miller.
Yeah.
Called several of them. That was not Leanne's house.
Autin.
How did I reach him? Couldn't find him in the book. Called. Sat in the car. Man alive! I was so upset. And about a week later, she passed.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's tough.
To this day, I take it
Yeah.
hard because I didn't get to say goodbye when I should have listened and tried
Yeah,
harder.
when you feel-
I should have
yeah.
went one by one, not hit and miss the Millers in the phone book there.
Yeah.
You know, I should have hit every single one of them until I found one. But I knew he had a brother too, but I guess I missed that one till I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay.
But, you know, I remember that. I remember when Kay passed, I was little.
She was very sick. Her kidneys were failing her.
Yeah. And Mom had met her neighbor across the street when she was expecting me. And she asked Mom if she could be my godmother.
Yeah.
A stranger to
Miss
my mom.
Jeremy, huh?
Eileen Jeremy. And she remember a lot of Louise Dantin.
Really?
She had just something about Louise's personality and
Yeah.
hers that just kind of reminded me.
I remember her kids.
And she had one son.
Yeah.
I mean, her one son. They had. I've got pictures. Somebody sent me, some relative of hers sent me pictures a while back. I've got them on my iPad. But I remember, and Mom said, I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know the lady.
Oh,
But I didn't know how
really?
to say no, but she had never been godmother to any child.
Go figure.
And she said, how do you say no to somebody? Back then, that was big,
She was a
you
nice
know?
lady, though.
Very nice.
quite the
They
honor, but
treated
yeah.
me so well.
Do you have any memory at all of his parents, of your dad's parents?
Only the mom.
The mom.
I was about to say that. His dad died before any of us were born. Well, not any of us. Her and I. Before Eldridge was born, he died. Like our older cousins would have known him.
But she was alive when you...
Yeah, oh yeah, we were there. I remember her being a very mean lady. But
That's all David remembered her, and she was never mean to me.
I'm not sure that.
But she wasn't your cuddly grandmother.
Right, and I don't remember her meanness directed toward me. Maybe
No.
like Dad meanness to
She was tough.
others. Yeah, maybe that kind of scared me. I'm not really sure. She never fussed us for running, jumping on her bed.
No.
Or y'all
She
jumping on the
allowed
bed.
us.
I just
She
killed
always
myself on
allowed
the
us.
side
She
of
would
the
tell
bed.
us to go.
Yeah.
Her parents, her dad and his brother owned a lot of land in Leeville, today's Leeville, where there was a lot of land back in the day. They had citrus groves. Her dad tended to the fields, to the crops, while his brother tended to the mercantile they had. Yeah, that was
They were
really
British.
cool.
How did that
Lee-
happen? Yeah,
I
how
don't
did that
know.
happen?
I don't know, but how did our Italian great-grandfather come and he married a French girl? They had a bunch of kids.
Stowed away on an uncle's ship or something? What was the
They
story?
stowed away on a ship, him and Mr. Koshenick.
And it was in French, but Mom remembers, whether the story is true or not, but Mom remembers it being called The Proud Fly, but it was written in French. And I don't know if that
La
was
Mouche
right.
Fiat?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, that's
I don't remember.
cool. I don't remember
maybe
that,
it was,
but yeah.
I remember a story similar to that But yeah,
Stowed away like on the Titanic. Him and his
Yeah.
friend,
they
Mr.
came, well, how
Koshenick.
did his brother came at a different time?
The brother had gone before them, like 3 years before him, and supposedly the brother wound up in South America.
In Brazil. And now let me tell you, there's a whole lot of
A
Anselmis in
lot
South
of them.
America.
The brother would write to them.
So this is your dad's dad?
A dad's grandfather.
Dad's grandfather.
He was the Italian man that the brother wound up, older brother wound up in South America and would write to them. And so he wanted to come. His name was Alexander. Him and his friend, who was a Koshenick, which sounds, Eastern European to me, but whatever.
Who knows?
They stowed away at 16 years old and wound up in New Orleans. And he heard about, they grew up on an island, Elba Island off the coast of Italy. And he heard, our grandfather heard of, there were banana boats that would go to this island. So gonna go to this island. Turns out it was Grand Isle. And they pick up the bananas and boat them into New Orleans, for shipping and stuff. So he went to Grand Isle. It was like 1893, like April, something like that, if I remember that correctly. That September, that big traumatic hurricane that killed
Before they
Bukusa
named
people.
hurricanes, yeah.
Yes, killed so many people. And when you look at the list of survivors, I remember reading his name. List wasn't very long. List of survivors, and
They
read
had a
his
really
name.
nice hotel on Grand Isle.
Yes, had a moment
Yeah.
of how we almost weren't here.
Almost weren't here. That's
Like, when he comes to America and they almost kill him.
like a shit. Well, the matter
And he
heard
would
that
tell
after he
stories.
left, that there was an earthquake over there,
Huh.
which basically destroyed the building where they kept records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
Who
married
survived?
a girl from.
He married a Martin, a
Louise
French
Martin.
girl, Louise Martin, from Cajun
It's
woman.
related to Andrew Martin.
Yes, that's how we related to Andrew. And
Speaking of,
Andrew Martin's calling you?
No,
I was
but-
gonna say.
you said you were going to text him later and get some
Yeah,
information from
because
him.
poor Andrew's dead.
Yeah, he's
Bless his
oh
heart.
Lord Jesus, no, not
But yeah, he married, and then they had several children, which our dad's dad was one of them, Charles Anselmi.
And supposedly, great grandfather named all his children after
His siblings,
Siblings
something
and-
like that.
something along that line.
Like
but they were sons.
one of the daddy's uncles named John,
Yeah.
and another one was named Juan, like Juan, which same thing, yeah.
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 So just different,
Different
but
ones.
Jean being the French version and Juan. Anyway, just great things like that. Daddy had a cousin. No, he had an aunt, Tante Lima. Oh Lord, if this is posted, whoever's related to Tante Lima besides me, besides us, and they would make fun of her, bless her heart, like she always carried her purse with her
Yeah.
on her arm. And one day they couldn't find the top of the egg, the top of the coffee pot. It was in her purse. So they would laugh anytime they saw somebody, especially a kid, got the purse on the arm. Where you going, Tante Lima?
I remember
Yeah.
that. I was called that multiple times. I loved, Mom had given me an old purse, an old black purse. The one handle would snap or kind of had
Yeah,
push hard
it
and
was a
would-
twist. Yeah.
And Mom had given me one and I always carried it right there. I had a little stuffed clown. Well, I'm traumatized, Stuffed clown, I had a few toys. And Dad always called me Tonsilima. Every time
Tonsilima.
he saw me with that
Now
purse.
one of the
His
and
aunt.
Yes.
that was, I guess, my dad's
Yeah,
aunt. I'm
I
not
guess.
sure what. I'd have to look at that. And then Tonti Ran, Irene, she was his dad's sister, and they spoke of her as having a really bad temper, like that. So
Tonti Ran,
it came on the
yes.
Anselmi side too.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
we come by it honest, I
I
guess.
suppose. Some of them were tall. I don't know why it didn't pass down to the rest of us.
And
Some
on
of
Mama's
his
side,
relatives-
Mama's, to me they were tall.
They
The
were
brothers,
taller
Uncle
men,
Cheryl was
yeah,
tall.
closer to 6
Cabron.
feet tall.
I don't know.
We all kind of got stuck.
Origin Pookie got the tall. We didn't.
It was just genetics for just the men to be taller because the women weren't so tall. Well,
No.
Hill wasn't exactly a short person.
No, Hill was like
Tom Jewell might
5'7",
not have been
5'8". Taunt
either.
Jewel was, I guess, on the taller side than not. But Taunt Kay was little shorty.
Yeah, I remember
you
the
know.
little petite
His
lady.
dad passed before you were born.
Yeah.
When did his mom pass away?
I was little. I was about
She was
3
in
or 4.
Yeah, about 1967. I want to say that she passed.
So I was little. But I have those memories of being at her house, which really
Yeah, she had a
surprises
little
me. I thought it was a
old
little bit bigger than
house
that.
that
Looks
she
like
had
that
them
house.
build, yeah, on the property they owned, and very primitive. She had electricity and stuff, and there was some running water, but she
But
didn't
no,
have
no indoor
commode.
facilities. Yeah.
And she was okay with that because they wanted to upgrade her, and she's like, no, she didn't. She didn't.
Didn't want that in the
No,
house.
she didn't
The
want
way she
that.
grew up.
But yeah,
She was. Anna Lee. Wasn't that her name?
Anna Lee,
Anna Lee.
our cousin Anna Dakota, she's named
So
after
yeah,
her.
Yeah. And Anna and I share the same, not the same year, sorry.
You're gonna break it.
Sorry. Anna and I share the same birthday, not the year, but the day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we sure do.
Betty's daughter.
Betty's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Before we're done, why don't you share your parents' birth dates and anniversaries? We've got just a couple seconds left.
Mom and Dad's anniversary was October 6th.
Mm-hmm.
What year was it? I don't remember.
I want to say 1948, but I'm not sure.
She was 15.
She turned 15 that year, so yeah,
Yes,
1948.
Yeah. And then what, his birthday was October 29th?
1928,
And she's the 31st?
and she was the 31st of 1933.
Yeah, October
Yeah.
31st.
Yep.
Sure was.
They were always respectful of each other. Just let me know you can shut it off. And respectful of each other, knowing each other's quirks, which buttons, I think to press.